even though I do kind of enjoy reinventing the wheel, I want to be done with it. We're going to start putting the fender liners in, the seat, clean it up. I have a buddy of mine that's going to come over and do some magic with the paint. I'll introduce him soon. Good friend of mine. He wants to do the paint just for the sheer fun of doing it. He likes detailing. He only details when he wants to. You can't pay him to detail, but if he wants to, he'll detail for you. Look how good those red seat belts look in there. All right, so the wheel is removed and it's already shipped out and sold. This is the replacement wheel. Didn't actually show anybody this. This is just a hub adapter. It isn't the quick release because I'm not really a big fan of those. Let's see if I can open this. Hopefully this thing is okay. It's just a solid piece, so it should be pretty good. It's got the piece there for the horn and the wiring, so we should be okay with that. Let me show you the wheel. I don't think I did show this. We can kind of keep it a secret. Not that it's a huge secret, but black wheel with the red stitching. I think that will go well with the interior. We have the red stitching on the Type R seats. This is the seat that hasn't been cleaned yet. We haven't dyed the fabric, but give you an idea what the back one looks like. So this should match the car. It's a little bit smaller wheel, should be a little bit sportier feel. So next thing, I think I'm going to do that cluster. I've been talking about that. Let me do that and get that out the way for you. So this is the UK Type R cluster. It's got the 10,000 RPM tach, and of course it is in miles an hour, and it goes to 160 and then has a tick for 170. As you see, the screen, it's dusty, but the screen has some scratching on it. Good news, you can still buy this screen. This is the part number. It's basically just the clear plastic lens. Let me open this, take a look. I won't open it until we're about to put it on, but I'm going to take this one off and show you real quick how it comes off. You can kind of see it in the lights now. Those scratches, they're not real bad, but they are noticeable. So to remove this, you've got these clips. You see the clear part all the way around. There's 4 on the top, and then 3 these here right on the side, on the bottom, you can see there, and then these here. So I'm not going to be able to show you this and do it one-handed. Maybe I will, but you're going to basically just lift these up very carefully and lift it forward. Again, I'm doing this left-handed and holding the camera. See how easy that comes off. Go with all of those and then carefully lift this lens off. So this will lift right off. Now be very careful of this. Be careful of these needles. This being 20 years old, these needles are pretty brittle, so pulling on those, you could actually break those off. But what I'm going to do a light clean on this, this is pretty good, but what I use is some real fine toilet paper and wet it with just clean water, and you can see a little bit of dust on these. What I do is just wipe it lightly. Just use clear water, don't put any cleaner on here. Also the dust in here, all it's going to do is pick those little dust particles up and make it a little bit cleaner. It's actually pretty good, but you see some of those like dusty areas in there. We can take those off. So this is the new lens. You can see how clean that is. It is just going to line back up and snap on back to the cluster. So you can see how much nicer that looks. It makes a big difference because obviously when you're sitting in the car, this is the first thing you see, the steering wheel and the cluster. This just makes the car look obviously newer when it's nice and transparent like that. Look at that. Alright, so what's interesting is the hub doesn't come with bolts, neither does the steering wheel. I mean, really? Is it going to cost you that much to include hardware? Well, the hub, I would assume, should come with hardware because you know what size you need, which is a 5mm. Luckily, I just went and picked up some Allen countersunk stainless, so they'll look nice in there. it'll contrast nice. We kind of got the whole stainless bolt thing going on in the car, so that will kind of go with the theme. So let's get an idea of what we need here. Obviously 6 Allen bolts. I got a few extras because I'm sure we're going to need them in the future. Most of your bolts, when you order these, they don't want to send you 6. They want to do, you know, 10, 20, 30. Preferably they want to sell you 100. But let's get this guy put on here and we'll see how it looks. Alright, so we have already discovered our first problem. The hub, see where my finger is here? The hub is too low profile. The cap actually hits the nut. And also from my driving position, if I can show you here, see actually the steering wheel is too close to the stalks now. It's like the opposite. Before I couldn't reach those with the other one, my fingers were barely touching. Now my knuckles are going to be actually contacting those stalks. So we found an adapter with some measuring to see what the perfect size would be, and I need about 25 to 30 millimeters clearance here. If you watch my right hand right here, I see my knuckle. That's my hand. It's touching the stalk. So I need about 25 millimeters there for clearance. So we've ordered a spacer that will bring the steering wheel away, and it's the type the spacer bolts to the hub and the steering wheel bolts to it. I don't want to have those long through bolts. I don't think that's going to be as secure. It'll also get that nut away from the steering wheel. It'll allow us to use our horn, and it also comes with this nice little Sparco cap. So this is another important thing. The 2 wires here are going to connect to these here. This is basically a switch, and this does work. So one of those things that most time you put an aftermarket wheel on, a lot of people lose the horn, and it is kind of important, so we want that to work. This cover here, I've been actually cleaning and dyeing it because it looked a little old, but now it's coming together. I'll put that piece on, I'll show you the finished article, but this is on order. We'll have this fixed pretty soon. Alright, so now I'm getting down to kind of like the fine details. It's like when you build a car, then you step back and you look over, you can see places to improve. Next thing we're going to do is change the screws for the IAT. We're going to put some stainless bolts in there. Alright, we've got our Allen bolts on there. You can see that makes a world of difference. It's just those little tiny things, but it definitely stands out. Alright, look at the difference there. You can see how fresh and black the passenger side one is versus the driver side. It's got like a blue tinge, so it's coming together now. You can actually really see the red against the seatbelt too. Look at that. That matches perfect. Let's get the other one out. Yeah, you can see it now. Look at that. Look how much bluer that seat is. That looks, in fact, this is the worst one. Now I want to get a good close-up of that because you're going to really see a transformation on this seat. That, if you look at it, it looks spent, it looks ruined. And again, the fabric is blue. So once we shampoo that, clean it, use some of the special LHTLC, which I'm not going to share with you. You can go ahead and get your thumbs down now, either way. But we're going to get that one out, clean it, and see a big transformation on this one. Alright, now look at this. You can see it on the outside. This thing looks awful, right? Especially this. Everyone's going to look at this and go, how are you going to fix that? It looks like leather, and it looks like a big crease here, which you're going to be amazed how I get that out. Look at that. So go ahead and pledge your money now. I want to put a little donation box at the bottom. Just go ahead and click and donate, and I'm going to show you how. No. Alright, so we're taking the wheel off. We're going to put our spacer in there. The spacer we decided on is 30 millimeter. It's a billet piece. It bolts to the hub, and then the steering wheel bolts to it. So that should get the steering wheel where we want it and feeling right and looking right. Yeah, that looks much better. It looks good. Put your hands on the wheel so we can see where the strokes are. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, it's right in the right spot now. It's not too far away that you can't reach it, but your knuckles are not dragging on that now. Yeah. Hopefully the horn button should go in, so if you want to do the honors It's sitting up there right by the JDM clock. One of the final pieces of the puzzle was the new fender liners. It's got new fender liners on both sides. The wheels can go on now for good. The brakes are still not fully seated. As you see, they've still got all of that crosshatch on it. The brakes do feel fantastic, but they're not 100% broken and not even close. I think it's got 5 miles on the street, so wheels can go back on. A few last little things going on in the back, a little bit of cleanup going on back there. We took the sway bar down to repaint and clean it, but you can see how nice it looks back there. Look at that. That exhaust is super. I really like that. That is going to be finding its way onto future projects. It's very time consuming, as you can see, because of the welds, but it sure does look pretty. And it's light. It's crazy light.
Alright, well there's the catch can I've been putting a lot of work into. I wanted it kind of hidden because there's not a lot of room. We'll get it powder coated black, so it will kind of go away. But if you look at the little red hose down there, that's where it connects to a vent under the car. So hopefully it will pull all of the smell and vapor out while you're driving. It connects to the back there. It goes straight down the back side of the can and connects to that. And that's there. It's internally baffled quite a bit and has a ton of room for oil to be in there. And there is a drain on the bottom that you probably can't see. It's got a little 8AN cap on the bottom for draining it. But there's the catch can. So here's the can out of the car. It's mounted on the two rubber feet that the charcoal canners used to be on. It's filled in on the top, and this hose goes from the top there out, and it goes to the scoop that the charcoal canister used to go to. So hopefully when you're driving, the wind along the bottom of the car will pull any vapor out of the can. It's got two -10 ports on the top, got a -8 on the bottom for draining, and one nut on the top, so that will hold it in place as all the weight is carried by the feet on the bottom. So there's the catch can.
So I just wanted to show you around the car a little. The paint correction is really needing to be done. Like I mentioned before, they give it a wet sand and like a polish, but it is really swirly. I brought it in the sun just to see if that would show. It's kind of hard to see through the viewfinder what I'm trying to highlight here, but it's pretty swirly when you get it in the sun. I mean, it looks good. It's definitely the color is beautiful. If you know this color, you'll know what I'm talking about. This Milano red looks terrific. And you hear the exhaust sound right here. It's on fast idle. I gotta get some sound clips. When it's done, we're gonna get some sound clips. We're gonna go up and down the road and spin some tires and bounce it off the rev limiter and just beat it, make sure it's happy, make sure there's no issues. It's had like 20 runs on the dyno at least. Kind of see the swirl in there a little bit. So it's been a fun build. It's still not done. We've got to do the final detail and the cleaning, and of course the small parts have to come back from powder coat, the catch can, the battery tie downs, that kind of thing. Interior looks fantastic. It's hard to see in the bright sun, but now it's got that deep black look. That is the OEM spark plug wires. They have to go on. I'm not sticking with the blue ones. I don't like them. Steering wheel worked out perfect. This is exactly where I want it. Now it feels right. This has to be cleaned up. We have our little tornado tool that we use that's air powered, runs water, and it cleans all that out. Do a really good detail on this, but see if I can get a sound clip for you. Hear that? The motor sounds good. But like anything, I want to make sure the car is 100% before I call it finished. You know, that's why it's had so many runs on the dyno. And like I mentioned, don't be surprised if I don't end up selling this car, because as much as I wanted the car, I haven't seen it because of the camera. As much as I wanted the car, I've kind of come to the realization I enjoy the build more than anything. Once the build is complete, it's kind of a, well, what am I going to do now? Of course, I'm working on customers' cars all the time, which does fulfill a lot of that void, if you can call it a void. But I really enjoy building the car, and while building this car, I've already kind of come up with an idea on the next build, and if anything, it's actually in the works, and it's going to be different completely to this car. It's going to be wilder in so many ways. It's going to be like, some people are going to go, what the, and other people are going to go, that is awesome. I don't want to give any more away because people will start guessing, but it's going to be really cool here. So hope you're enjoying the Integra build. There is, without teasing, at least 2 more episodes to go, so hopefully you're enjoying the extra detail we put into them and try and show you the little behind the scenes and show you the things that work and the things that don't work, because no build is perfect. Nobody puts a car together and has everything perfect the first time. However, of all the things we did, the only thing that didn't work was the blow-off valve. I mean, the whole build, the engine, the turbo kit, everything was perfect except the blow-off valve. And to give you an update on that, it was the spring. Changed the spring to a 9-pound spring. It's perfect now. It's good to go. It's exactly the way we want it. So thanks for watching. See you on the next videos. And like we always say, enjoy your cars.